Special guest today that has built a reputation as one of New York's most influential behind-the-scenes strategists. Born in Miami, raised in Flatbush, Brooklyn, Joshua Dieudonne has gone from navigating the realities of city life to advising leaders in government, shaping policy initiatives, helping entrepreneurs, artists, and community leaders turn influence into opportunity. As the founder of Project 2028, Joshua is leading a movement focused on economic empowerment and wealth creation for the next generation. He has worked at the intersection of politics, culture, and business, helping bring community voices into rooms where decisions are made. Whether through legislation, advocacy, youth entrepreneurship, government contracting, or cultural engagement, Joshua has dedicated his career to creating pathways for people historically left out of the conversation. JD, as we've known, welcome to Policy and Culture.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, guys. I appreciate it, for real.
No, we appreciate you, man, and all the work they be doing. When we saw some of the announcements, actually, the recent press around the legislation you're doing in New York City, was talking to Drew and was like,
shout out to that, too.
Facts,
that's major
facts,
right there, man. Shout out to that. That's major. It
was a perfect alignment of what the Policy and Culture brand is, what we're trying to establish, and really just continue to educate not only young people, but just quite frankly, our culture, our community, about the power in policy, politics, and not the corruption or the grimy stuff, really the influence that can get things done. But let's just kick off a little bit, since we talked about the press, the recent press. Talk a little bit about the legislation you're doing, and then we'll get into your journey. We'll kind of go backwards.
Yeah, most definitely. The legislation that I'm doing right now, which is two pieces of legislation, right? And there's one on the city level that I'm doing with Councilmember Kevin Riley.
Shout out Kevin Riley, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, we had him on the show.
Man.
Yeah, man. He's dope, super dope. And he's just so open-minded, and he's like ready to go with anything. And I like that. You know what I'm saying? People that see that there needs to be a change. Because most of them was just like, they're not really in tune with the culture. You know what I'm saying? As y'all seen the whole sweep that Mandami had, you know, like literally just yesterday when he got all his new candidates that he wanted to be in these certain positions in there, because they understand that it's a different time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kevin Riley is one of those guys.
What you saying now with Kevin Riley, right? You being a black young man coming out of Flatbush, how comfortable did Kevin Riley like make you feel in that situation to kind of, you know, want to get involved in this?
Oh, most definitely, man. He's like made me feel real comfortable because we from the same area. Like as far as not like the Bronx, but I'm talking about like just the hood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he grew up where he grew up from, and I grew up like from Flatbush, Brooklyn, and you know it was tough. So we understand. Like it's not even something that you gotta, you know, even explain. It's almost as if, you know, just the energy.
Yeah.
And once you know, y'all feel each other's energy, it's like, nah, I see. I understand, you know, what he been through, and I understand what he went through, you know? And so from there, we just started to mesh. And, you know, I brought him the idea of, you know, my bill called MYBE, right? Minority Youth Business Enterprise, right? And so it's kind of the same thing of MWB, if you guys know about that, right? But for younger people. And it's kind of like a pipeline to sustain MWBE, right? And I'm gonna get into that, but I wanna get into the Youth Entrepreneurship Bill, right? So in the city council, there's certain things that you can do, right? As far as creating a whole mandate. So we decided to go and actually make a program that teaches youth and young adults about government contracting and the procurement system, right? Because as we all know, you know, people get into office like Trump, and then he gives his friends and his families or people that he wants government contracts to do,
the reflecting pool.
The reflecting pool, like all these crazy things, you know what I'm saying? And literally government contracts is so important. You can't become a billionaire or a millionaire without government subsidies or contracts, right?
Elon Musk,
1/5 of his wealth is government contracts.
SpaceX, 95% of the revenue is government, is literally the United States NASA contracts.
Exactly. There you go. There you have it, right? So my whole thing is if we teach them from young, right, coming out of high school, it's from 18 to 30 years old. The Youth Entrepreneurship Bill is aiming to teach those people in that that age frame, right? And if you get them to learn at a young age, they'll be prepared for the future, right? Or they'll be prepared right now. Some youth and young adults is going to catch it like this, and they're going to understand that they could build wealth right in their communities, right? So a school, you guys could teach podcasts. You guys do podcasts. You guys could teach podcasts in schools. Y'all know that already. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could teach so much different things. Financial literacy. Shout out to Aaliyah. She does financial literacy. This is one of the people that I linked up with that's doing her thing. And there's so much other things. You teach hair, nails, so much things that you could do and build wealth right inside of the community that you live in, right? You could have a contract. I'm from Flatbush, right? I could have a contract from Erasmus. I could have a contract with Midwood. So much different schools that I could have contracts with, and then hire my own friends and build wealth between me and my friends and build an empire and start from there and just grow and change. You guys seen it, like OpenAI was a nonprofit first. Now it's a for-profit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about developing and starting somewhere. And so that bill that's what it really aims to do. Teach the youth and young adults, right? I'm trying to get it into high schools because I feel like that's important for them to learn in high school, and it should be a part of the curriculum because it's very crucial.
You see, JD, I ain't gonna let you off the hook now, bro. I was gonna let you off the hook before, but it's way too advanced. It's way too advanced and polished. Just to go over it like that. How did you get involved in that? I asked you before, you said, yo, I just met the governor one day, I shook his hand and he liked me. What really piqued your interest to go as far as like really creating a bill, really connecting with elected officials, really tapping into that grassroots level? What was that really, tapped into your passion with that?
Yeah, so I met the mayor of the last administration, Mayor Eric Adams, right? And like I said, one day I just saw him coming in my store when I was doing asset protection. And, like I said, a quote came into my mind: discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. And so I decided not to regret that day and actually walk up to him and just meet him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't asked for no pictures. I wasn't on no fan behavior or nothing like that. You guys from the hood, so y'all know what's up. Walked up to him and I just said, I want to introduce myself. From there, he's like, yo, let's exchange numbers. And then he just started to ask me what I wanted to do and what could I help what he could help me out with, and in my career and things of that nature. And from there, I just started to talk to him more and tell him about my upbringing. And he was just like, listen, I want you to come into government and start to lead. Because I guess, he's just seen something in me. And that was important.
That's fly, man. Obviously we're talking about politics and culture, and so there's a lot of news, things that have happened around our former mayor, Eric Adams, but probably the most important thing is we still got to give him love and shout out for investing into that next generation, investing into a JD. A lot of young people that may have had to go through unnecessary roadblocks, unnecessary red tape. We talk a lot about that. The characters in our community, specifically with regards to Black politics, create a lot of nuances that make it blurry and difficult. So for the sitting mayor to give you his cell phone, not know you, and then invest into you just as far as social capital, right? Not even financial capital, but just political capital. Say, I want to see you do. And even though he's not the mayor no more, now you're still putting on. You can't really put a number to that, right? Like, that's priceless. So shout out to former mayor Eric Adams. But you mentioned a quote. And I want to go a little deeper. Drew was just talking about your intro to the bill, but even to pull out a quote or think about that in that moment, what was the upbringing? Talk a little bit about your journey in Flatbush from Brooklyn, that you was prepared for that moment, because a lot of people may have seen the mayor and, like you said, mayor, let me get a pic, mayor this, that. Yeah. They're not thinking, mayor, I want to learn this or this, that, and the third, or even have that energy where he sees talent. Yeah. What prepared you for that?
Oh, man. I would say the toughness of Brooklyn, the toughness of growing up in the hood, knowing how to maneuver and knowing that energy is everything. And understanding that when it comes time, you got to make sure you move right to survive. And so I went to school out in Queens, even though I grew up in Brooklyn, because my mom, she worked for the DA's office, and she didn't want me to get caught up in, you know.
So now it's coming out more. We see had a mother that worked
Yes,
for government
yes.
now. Okay, we see
Yes.
what's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
So she was doing her thing, and she didn't want me to get in trouble outside in Brooklyn and things of that nature. So she was just like, yo, listen, I want you to come to Queens, closer to me, and go to school out in Queens, right? And so went to school out in Queens, traveling an hour every day, back and forth on the train. And then from there, like, just getting into trouble, you know, us young Black kids just getting into trouble and getting involved with the wrong crowd. But I don't really want to say it's the wrong crowd, because it's like God put you through certain things for a reason, you know. And I went to Richmond Hill High School out in Queens, and that's where I met my bro, rest in peace, my bro, Bashar Jackson, Pop Smoke. And so me and him was cool. We was really close. And you know, he always brought that energy wherever he was going. You know, he always, you know, shake the room. That was him.
Yeah.
And so I just seeing him blow up and do his thing was just like, you know, we could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, even though when we getting into trouble, when we, you know, get into so much shit in the streets, I could curse, right?
Yeah.
Stuff in the streets and everything like that, it was just like, we could make it. Don't matter what you go through, no matter how low it gets, no matter if your pockets is empty, you can make it. And so from there, I think that just molded me into the person that I am. You know what I'm saying? And just giving me that awareness to know what certain environments I'm in and knowing how to move, you know? And my mom always believed in me. And so that was really like just my upbringing, and having mentors as well. Like, I was going through a lot of stuff with just NYPD, just like literally on my back and everything like that. And I started just praying more and, you know, digging into my roots, because my family was Christian. You know, I started to read the scriptures, Proverbs mainly, the book of wisdom. And from there, you know, praying, meditating. And then from there, I just start to see my life change, honestly. I went on an interview to do asset protection at Nostrum. And that's where I met the regional manager of Nostrum. And, you know, I told him about my upbringing. I told him the things that I was going through. And then, you know, he was just like, yo, listen, I'm going to bring you under my wing. And from there, he introduced me to somebody else that was another manager of one of the flagship stores in New York City. And they just started pouring into me. And then the first manager I told you guys about, he left Nostrum and then he went to Saks Fifth, right? Saks Avenue, Fifth Avenue, whatever it's called. And he became the vice president of protection, asset protection at Saks. And from there, you know, he just started just pouring into me more. And then any job opportunity he would just give me. And, you know, he would tell me certain books to read, and same thing like the other guy. They would just pour into me. And from there,
I think that's
just
dope. Me and Dan had a conversation the other day about talent, man, and what people do with talent. Sometimes it be diamonds, and they really don't invest the time to really, you know, fine tune that diamond. They'll look at, you know, the rawness, or just look at you face surface and kind of just pass over. So I think it's kind of dope that you had people really, you know, invest into that to really bring that out of you, man. That's amazing right there. I think that's dope. Word.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That journey from around that age, were you going to college?
Nah, I ain't never go to college yet. You know, I'm in college now, online school.
Right.
And because, you know, you need that degree to move up in life.
You really don't anymore. That's
You
like a back, depending on what you're doing.
You really don't, but for government, they it says specifically that you got to have
a bachelor's degree or
something of that nature, or the experience, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I decided to go back. Literally, this year I made that decision. But before, I didn't have no college experience, and that's why it was just so great, because I already felt that college was kind of a hindrance for me, right? I'm young, I got all this energy, I need to move, I need to stick and move, I need to do what I got to do, meet who I got to meet. and make the right connections and just build it off of energy, build my reputation off the energy that I got.
I love that.
And from there, like I said, when I met the mayor, you know, the next month, you know, we did an event at Gracie Mansion because I told him that there was so much youth and young adults that were missing out on the services that the city has to offer, right? And it's kind of different now because it's like a couple of years before, you didn't really need social media as much as you need now to actually win elections. So young people was just now making that transition to YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and everything like that. That was the hype thing, right? Back then, when I was 22. And so they wasn't really utilizing social media as much. And so I'm like, listen, let me come in, let me bring in youth and young adults that's a part of my network and really share the opportunities that they have, that the city has to offer them, right? And so we had an event at Gracie Mansion. I invited about 300 youth and young adults that showed up for me because they know my reputation and they know that I'm not, you know, somebody that they feel that just say things and don't action on it. You know, I always execute. And so they came out on behalf of me, and I got the chance to be on the stage with the mayor, the chancellor, and also the commissioner of DYCD.
Who was
So
that?
I was
King at the time, the Chancellor King?
No. It was Keith Howard.
Keith Howard. Okay.
Keith Howard, right? And then it was also David Banks was the chancellor at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And so that was a crazy moment for me because it's like the day before the mayor calls me, he's like, "Yo, I want you to be on stage with me."
And now, what's the timeline from when you met him and he gave you
that's a month. So
that's
like
crazy.
Yeah, that's like a month.
That's crazy. That's straight raw energy though. Like, you must have been like, he must have really seen like, I'm gonna trust him, because that's trust too, right?
Mm-hmm. It is trust because he don't know me from a hole in the wall. So much people. That's why I feel like it's so crucial to be authentic because there's so much people out there that's trying to drag everybody down. Like they trying to get some information on the mayor, they're trying to get some information on this politician, that politician, reporters, this and the third. And I was just myself. Like I didn't give off that energy because it wasn't me to be like, yo, be fanned out, to be like, yo, I'm so, nah, it was just about, I want to learn and being humble. Even with me knowing him now, it's just remain humble, you know? And so from there, we just started just to do multiple events, right? I did an event called We Trending where I brought a whole bunch of my social media influencer friends out, and, you know, they use their platforms to share all the services that DYCD and NYC Service had to offer, right? And so they was getting the word out, and that event captured over almost like 1 million views. You know what I'm saying? So I was Mandami before Mandami.
You've been bridging the gap between policy and culture yourself for some time now.
Yes, sir. So I didn't really get into policy as of yet, but it was more so sharing the programs and things
But that's more so what it is. You bridging that gap with culture unknowingly. Like with them in the building and the culture there, that's what that is right there.
Yes, sir.
Well, how effective do you think that is, using your social media platform and trying to get people engaged? How many people do you feel was really impacted that left from there like, yo, I'm interested in getting involved in this stuff?
So I would say about 400 youth and young adults came, but the views is really where it's at, the engagement, you know, online, where so much youth and young adults say, yo, I want to come, I want to be there, you know what I'm saying? Because this never had happened before, where you have a whole bunch of youth and young adults who are influencers, TikTokers, who are like around Kai Sanat, you know, like those type of kids being at an event like this. You know what I'm saying? Because they're usually focused on comedy. They're usually focused on the things that'll make you laugh and, you know, stupid things and things of that nature. But this right here was really telling my friends like, yo, there's a platform, or there's resources, or there's things that you're missing out that you can tap into, right? And I don't want you guys to miss that opportunity. You guys, my friends, we cool. We did videos in the past. I did videos in the past with them, like Pop the Balloon and things of that nature. But I'm like, yo, this is some serious stuff. If y'all get in tune with this, y'all might be set for life. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just important on how, you know, they were able to bring so much views and numbers to platforms like that.
You mentioned earlier that you were starting to get into a little bit of quote unquote, let's say the wrong crowd, which obviously we talk about a lot of times because I went through that phase. Drew has gone through that phase. I think anybody that grows up in the communities, it's a real thing. We were talking to Assemblyman Landon Diaz, and one of his clips went viral. Actually, he was talking about like this identity crisis with black men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where usually at some age you feel like you got to act a certain way, you got to talk a certain way, or like you're not cool, this, that, and thing, all these things that happen naturally. At that period, though, and that specific group, what would you say, or we're always looking to communicate the value of at least being interested in politics, because the amount, especially where we're from, Long Island, of people that look at our demographic, that may be that going left demographic, as literally as you just don't exist.
Mhm.
It's the amount of disrespect. It's wild.
Mhm.
What would you say to kind of like communicate at that point in period to that group of friends, that circle? Like, it's not just voting. It just get a little bit interested. It could change your life.
Yeah, so to be honest, it's just like it's all about like literally exposure, right? Once people started to see me put on a suit, it was like, whoa, Josh, you look fresh.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a different type of look. And then, you know, on top of that, it's just like, once you start to like dress suits, they put on suits, they like, yo, you making money now. You must be making money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dressing different now. You ain't dressing like us now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from there, I think that's what like literally piques their interest. It's like the money and the dressing, you know, fly and just dressing like you about to go sign $100 million contract or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And so because that's the frequency that our community is on. Like, it's on survival mode. Like, yo, I got to get to this bag. I got to get to this money. You know, like we don't got time to waste.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, I would say, like, using that as an avenue, and that's why I decided to create that policy, because I know one thing that our community loves is money. You know what I'm saying? And from there, if you fighting for policy, you fighting for economic rights, from there you'll be exposed to so much different other policies. And from there, you can start to see where your path is and what do you really want to see change in your community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that kind of just like opens up the field for so much young brothers that want to get in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what, to answer your question.
That's beautiful, man. Especially like, because a lot of times too, individuals that get involved into this game, it could be, I'm a pastor's son, right? I actually rejected that for a long time. I really didn't get tapped into my faith till I was about 30.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time. But my pops invested a lot into me, you know, abiding in the faith, really understanding the power of relationship
Mm-hmm.
with Jesus and God. But it's a beautiful thing, because you mentioned a couple of words. So we also do this other thing. It's called the energy of our culture. You mentioned energy.
Yeah.
You mentioned frequency.
Yeah.
You mentioned awareness.
Yeah.
Those are 3 very powerful traits.
Yeah.
Survival tactics.
But you're using them in a way to navigate a really, really brutal sport,
Mm-hmm.
politics.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the situational awareness to navigate these spaces, these rooms. And you're not an elected official yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you want to. I'm sure if you do, or you want to, that'll be a clear path for you. You never know, but how are you utilizing the things you learned from survival tactics in this space now?
Yeah. I would say,
Because there's wolves out there.
man, there's wolves, there's lions, there's bears,
Oh my.
there's snakes.
Oh my.
There's everything out there, you know? But honestly, it's I think one of the main things is keeping a calm mind, right? Don't get too caught up in the hype. And just remain humble, right? Because the moment where you start to have a big head, that kind of blinds your view to all the other things that you might be lacking. you know, and other people like to attack where you're lacking, right? And one of the things that I was lacking was a college degree, you know, and everybody was like, some people were like, yo, well, he don't got a college degree. Why is he here? You know, why is he in the room with a whole bunch of nightlife millionaires that own all different types of businesses in New York City? I'm talking about they make millions of dollars. And I was the only young person in the room, you know, and having to, you know, navigate that space and stand up and speak, it was a lot of pressure. That's why I say it's very important to be calm and to understand who's in the room, you know, as well. And just doing your research even before you step into the room.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, doing your research.
About to ask you that, so you're prepared.
Yeah, so you prepared, right? And to be honest, it's like you're never gonna be fully prepared, but you can do some preparation. And like Jeff Bezos said one time, he's like, you don't have to be 100% prepared. You could be 60% prepared. You could be 50% or 70% prepared. Make sure you execute. When you execute, then you'll see where your faults are. You'll see where you messed up. And believe me, I messed up a lot.
Yeah.
But I just kept going. I just kept executing because I knew the opportunity that I got was so important and so crucial that if I didn't keep stick and move, if I didn't keep blitzing, if I didn't keep meeting with this person or connecting with these people, I wouldn't be where I am today. So much other people, brothers that, you know, have the same opportunity, but they were just like relaxed. And I'm like, that's not what our people need. Our people don't need people that's like, you know, relax and just cool and like, yeah, I'm in this position, I'm good.
Oh, I got a question for you now.
You know, like relax, I'm in this position, I'm good, I'm getting paid good, so I don't need that. But you know, it's like you almost gotta have that mentality where it's on go, you know, calculated risk, and keep on going, but also have a calm mind because you're gonna make.
I was just about to ask you, what is that thin line between being too relaxed, but also the calm mind? Because that's a catch-22, and a lot of us don't get that.
Yeah.
Me and Drew talk about that. Everything you say right now, me and Drew, I think it's just different regionally.
Yeah.
Long Island's literally a suburb.
Yeah.
And our community is predominantly, at one point, was really all Black. Now it's almost predominantly Hispanic. So it's different than, and it's different than the city because it's mainly new immigrants. So it's not even like Puerto Rican, Dominican. It's like Ecuadorian, Mexican, El Salvadorian. So it's just a different landscape now. That sense of urgency is not there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, it's not even relaxing. It's straight. I'm chilling.
Complacency.
Yeah.
Complacency.
I'm chilling.
Yeah.
So then it's like when I'm talking, sometimes I get a little too like, when I'm talking to the young boys anyway, like, yo, we don't have no time. The urgency is right now. Everything is changing in the next 3 years. And this is last year, so we got 2 years. There's no time to play. You're looking at me like this, you know? But you just said, you gotta tread the line between being, having a calm mind, but also not being too relaxed.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I would say you don't learn these things without learning, right? And like you said, it's about a balance. The in-between is the most important because you have to believe in yourself so much and almost really be delusional that you're gonna make it, but then you also have to have a strong sense of reality at the same time.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Yes.
Nah, that's real right there.
Yeah.
And so that's where I want to exist, is right in between. You know what I'm saying? And really just blend the two. Because like I said, if you don't have that sense, like you said, if you don't have that sense of urgency, then you're just gonna waste the opportunity.
Yeah.
But then you gotta cool out. Everything has to be calculated.
Yeah.
You can't just be running and just jumping all over the place and trying to, be everywhere because you're gonna burn yourself out.
Yeah. Or potentially burn a bridge, right?
Exactly.
You get that opportunity, then, like you say, you might start feeling yourself, which could be natural.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do something and it doesn't reflect the people that just got you into that room.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that happens too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I had so much power. I still do. And I wanted to use it the righteous way. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to, when they get in that position, it's like you have a decision to take advantage of it and do whatever you want with it, or do what God has called you to do. And I decided to go that route. And so, like, just one of the examples, when that thing happened with Kai Cenat, when, he caused that big, crazy crowd.
That was your event?
No, that was my event. That big, crazy crowd in Manhattan when he decided to go give back. And they just started destroying cars and just doing mad stuff. Kids. When he got arrested, I hit up so much people in the administration. Everybody, like all the top heads, I hit him up. Everybody that I knew, I hit him up and I said, he doesn't deserve to go to jail, right? He doesn't need to, because he was trying to do good. He didn't understand the influence that he had at the moment. He's a young kid. So we need to make sure that he's okay, that he's good. You guys don't need to treat him like a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that they was going to, but I had to voice my opinion, being that, one of the youngest
so what
people in government.
He had an event, people tore the cars up and they arrested Kai Cenat for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like they're like, the police are like, yo, you got to understand your influence.
He got crazy.
Yeah, it got real crazy. And so, yeah, I told everybody, like, anybody you could think of, right, from the top, and I only deal with people that have control of the situation. And so, and a lot of people don't even know that till this day.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know I put the word out to say, yo, nah, he don't need to go through that, because he's a good kid. He was just trying to do good. And so that's the type of things that I'm talking about. Like, I'm able to, to pull those strings and make those things happen because of who I am. But, from there, I just, kept on grinding. And then one day I did an event. Now, this is where the real culture and the policy starts to blend. I did an event called Hip Hop Holiday, right? Where we bring together all of the city agencies that focus on youth programs, right? And brought them out to Surrogate's Court, 31 Chambers Street, to have that event where I bring out people on the hip hop side, actors, right? Some of the people that I can name that we gave proclamations to for the things that they do in the community, like A Boogie, Lola Brooke, Michael Rainey Jr., who else? So much other people that's like, it's off my mind. Like, I can't even, who did? Joey Badass, Lala Anthony. So much, Don Q was there. Who else? Chef G, Sleepy Hollow. Anybody you could name and that are like A-list artists or B artists, all at the Hip Hop Holiday, right? Because I wanted to show them that we could blend the culture with government, right? And that we can come together for something good. And like I always say, it's like, yo, we tired of people coming back to the block giving out turkeys. Like, I gotta give out things that's gonna make a lasting impact. You can't just, like Drake said, handing out turkeys in your hood, then you go back to the hills. He said that on Iceman. It's like, what is that? That doesn't do much for your community.
Right.
And so that's why I was like, yo, I got to blend these services, blend these two entities together, bring these artists together, bring the policy, bring the programs together, and really do something great for the community. And that event garnered over like 1,000 kids and youth and young adults, right? And went viral on social media, Shade Room, all over. It's all over the city. And so I seen, you know, everything shifting, right, where social media and engagement was very important during those times, where some people were literally stuck in that mindset where, you know, we could just go to the same people that we've been dealing with in politics for so long. Like, that's how they feel like they would win elections. It's like, no. They still got the same pull that they got, like the old heads. Like,
You know what it is though? What I realized with that is that they don't look at us like we're really gonna come out and vote. I think the Gen Z generation is kind of like changing that, but I just think they look at our demographic as like, they there, but they really not.
But see, that's a catch-22 because.
But that's their mistake as well.
But our generation, well, you're how old are you?
27.
Yeah, so you're Gen Z. You're a little younger than us, but millennials and Gen Z vote, like as you can see in Mamdani, but it's a specific demographic that doesn't vote. It's really more of that young, I would almost go as far as to say definitely black and brown, but that young, black, young woman, young girl, young boy, 18 to 30.
Absolutely.
I would even say, 18 to 30, that just is like straight thinking about Houston, Texas right now.
Or athlete.
or like they're not thinking about none of that's the group. And that's the group that really needs, that's why I asked you that question before, to understand how, even if you don't participate in school, which you should in local, you have to at least understand that if you don't have a voting block, you literally don't exist because you're not filling out the census, you're not voting. You do not exist to the people that are making decisions about you. And then not all skin folk is kinfolk. So it's like, you also got to be mindful of who's representing you. Because there's a game where they can get someone to look just like JD, but doesn't have their heart, right?
The
righteousness of they're not reading Proverbs and actually living it. They're able to manipulate it. That's another thing we talk about a lot is the characters.
And
man,
that energy is real too.
That energy is real.
I identify that energy. Just how they say real recognize real. As soon as I see that, I'm able to identify that. So energy is definitely real.
Drew, bring the mic a little closer.
Oh, yeah, energy is definitely real.
Yeah, no, everything you're saying is definitely things that when we try to talk to young people, even in our conversations, navigating the realms that, you know, we're looking to scale, it's all has to be in alignment with the value that you're bringing too. Yeah. Right? Like you could have all those attributes, but you also got to bring some value, educate yourself, be prepared. So you mentioned go to college. What else is going on right now? What's that? Are you working with the current administration?
Yeah, so I'm working with certain people in the current administration on certain things that will be announced soon.
Okay.
But as far as things that I've been doing recently, is I did it like the top of last year, where the ending of last year, where just so you understand, or I could take off where you left at, is understanding that voting block, right? There's certain niches that people or youth and young adults are in. They love content creation. They love, doing the TikToks, right? But you have some people doing just the beauty industry. That's all they make content about is beauty. And if they understand how the system works and understand that beauty, comedy, what else? How you dress, putting on clothes. If those people understood how to organize and come together, that's big. That's a big voting block right there.
Absolutely.
But our community doesn't understand that as of right now. That's why I commend what you guys are doing, because that's what I'm doing as well. And we need that. We need more of that. And people need to know that, we have, as Gen Zs and young people, we have a whole bunch of influence that we don't even know how to really utilize as much. And so that's why I brought together a table of well, shouldn't say table, but a group of young hairstylists who've done Nicki Minaj, anybody that you can name, Beyonce, Summer Walker, anybody that you can name. They did all their hairs, right? And bringing them together to see what resources they could utilize in government, all right? And having that roundtable of bringing the Department of Education and gender-based violence, DYCD, SBS, all the agencies, any agencies that you can name, I basically brought them together to that table to really help them get involved, right? Because all of them wanted to do things like community events or go into Rikers Island and do some of those women here that are about to come out of jail, you know, and they all wanted to make a change. And so, you know, that's what I did recently. And then the other thing that I just really came on, well, what I'm targeting right now is trying to get everybody on that frequency of understanding how important government contracting is. And that's why I created Project 2028 when Zoran was running and Cuomo was running against each other during that campaign season, because everybody had like a plan for older adults. They had a plan for kids.
The branding behind that Project 2028, was that a spinoff of Trump and them thing with the Project 25, or that's why you did the 28 like that? So
I'm glad you catching on.
I
so
like
it's
the
not
social
really
currency. I like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly. So it's like I was trying to flip it on his head, because it's like, they did that to distract us and make people upset. You know, even though those are like real plans that they actually carrying out now.
All of them too.
All of them.
Really coming into fruition.
Yeah, they basically almost did all of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's fine, because it's like certain administrations come in, then they change everything the last administration did. So they have their time as of right now to do whatever they got to do for themselves, right? Trump and them. But my whole thing was, I think the source of where we need a change is money, is wealth, right? Because once you have the wealth and once you achieve a certain amount of money, you guys all seen it. Elon Musk, he went and bought X. Jeff Bezos, he went and bought Washington Post. You have that money. Once you built up that business, you got money, now you start to buy influence.
Larry Ellison.
You know, Larry Ellison. I think they bought a conglomerate of companies where BET is in it. And that's where our community has to understand, like, it starts with building wealth first.
Yep.
And so that's why I'm like, listen, government contracts are rewarded. So they don't necessarily have to say, no, this contract is like only for this brand, right? Or for this company. No, a mayor can come in and say, no, I want this person to have that contract. And there's certain ways, like discretionary contracts, they can also play with. Like Trump, he gave the contract to one of his friends to do that reflection pool that we talked about earlier.
We want to make sure that could happen, but that's also a thin line to tread.
Yeah, it's also a thin line to tread.
You know, Drew got this contract. They got obviously there's supposed to be bidding and all this, you know, kind of stuff. But that's where the knowledge and education has to come into, like how you position your business to win a government contract. Because we do a lot. It's called Next Gen Supply Diversity in Long Island. And one of the best things about trying to get your business started, we got 50 business. Oh, we got over 50. We got 57 minority women business enterprises state certified, and as well as Port Authority.
Congratulations.
What you learn quickly though is, either I have a terrible business or I have a pretty strong business, right? Because you have to basically do a full audit of your own business. You got to go and get your articles of incorporation. You got to go and learn that. People don't even realize when you have a for-profit business, to get a government contract or to be a state certified business, you really also have to do board meeting minutes. It's not just a nonprofit thing. So you kind of have to look back and make sure you're doing all these things. It helps get your business situated in compliance with how it really is supposed to run. Because then you have a healthy business. The goal would be to scale that business or to commercialize it. You really can't do that. If you're yourself, if your business has to run with you there constantly, it's hard to really, and that's why a lot of our people that are hairstylists or run barbershops or run these businesses that you have to be there get worn out.
Yeah.
You know, because it's hard to scale yourself unless you're using technology or the things that are in place. Wanted to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions as we close out. You mentioned a few things. Drew, if you have anyone that comes to your mind, definitely think about it. But you have to choose one. Real quick, actually, to go back to Cuomo and Mamdani. Did you have a Kaushi bet on that one?
Nah, I didn't have a Kaushi.
Yeah,
because I didn't really. That wasn't my focus. My focus is about making a change, right? And just to touch on some of the things real quick before we get into the fire question round, I just really wanted to make sure that people understand that there's kind of a disadvantage for young people when becoming MWBE certified, because it's just like, who is the government going to choose, right? When it comes down to a business that's been in business for decades and that has the knowledge, that has the relationships, versus a young person who just got in the game, right? They're ultimately going to go with that larger business, right? And so that's where one of the disadvantages are, right? And as well as that barrier, right? People, I know a whole bunch of youth and young adults who signed up to become MWBE certified, but they got denied because they didn't understand some of the language. Even though they making money, they didn't have that knowledge, right? So that's why that youth entrepreneurship program was so important, right? That me and Kevin Riley is doing. And so from there, I'm like, okay, that's cool. We got that there. I'm doing this with Kevin Riley. But what we also need is a mandate, right? Which is the MYBE Bill, right? And so that mandate is to have Department of Education, CUNY, youth agencies allocate 12% of their budget to young business entrepreneurs, right? Because it's a big disadvantage. They're not going to choose a young person, right? The nonprofits, how a lot of young people that I know who understand the government business right now, they're working through nonprofits, right? So they're like subcontractors, right? Because some of these nonprofits are playing an unfair game where they know that young person has more influence than them, but they don't want to like kind of usher them in and help them get their own contract and walk on their own. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's kind of like so cutthroat. Like even with me, I started a nonprofit called Vibe Safely, right? A CMS group. And one day I met up with a whole bunch of CMS groups and a lot of city agencies, and I was telling them my idea, and they were like, "Yo, who's this young guy? Where do you think he's going? He's not going into my neighborhood. He's not going to take my contract."
I was about to say, you start taking,
he's not about to take no bread off my table.
Blood sport.
You know what I'm saying? So it's real cutthroat out there. And if anybody knows too much, if y'all know a lot about, well, probably don't know too much about CMS groups, but these are guys from the streets. Like these are guys that changed their life around, but they still got that street in them, And so it's a big advantage. And so that's why I decided to do that next bill with Chantel Jackson in the Bronx.
Okay.
The Bronx is just showing me love.
Heavy in the Bronx.
Heavy in the Bronx.
We know who control, you got Hasty. They're doing some more
Bailey.
They got major players in the Bronx.
Carl Hasty, Jamal Bailey, Kevin Riley, the whole Bronx. They shaking.
Even the Bronx borough president,
Vanessa. All of them are good people, but the mere fact that they're like, yo, this is a legacy changer. This is a game changer. Because everybody knows wealth starts at a young age. That if you get your young person or your child on that frequency of saving money, investing, they're going to be well off into the future. See, what happens is a lot of billionaires and millionaires, they have their kids start businesses at a young age, at like 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? Or put a business in their name before they're able to even walk or whatever. And so what happens is the young people they learn, first of all, the school system that they're in is way better than a public school system.
Yeah.
Right?
They're learning Mandarin.
Yeah, exactly.
They're 4 years old.
Mandarin. And they learning about businesses, how to build an empire, right? And so they already catch on so fast. That's why you have some of these Mark Zuckerbergs coming out of college creating Facebook, because they're learning at a faster pace than us, and then also have access to large amounts of money and venture capital funds that inner city youth don't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so we have to understand and look into the government and say, we have to level the playing field. And we all know that the whole point of CUNY and Department of Education is to uplift youth and young adults and get them to the next step of their lives. So if that's the whole purpose, not only should we be teaching youth and young adults about financial literacy, but we should also be giving them a chance to run these businesses in these schools, have these contracts, right? And that's how you make a city more affordable.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to create wealth in these smaller communities.
Yep.
That's a real game changer. I believe, like, taxing the rich and everything like that is cool and all, but rent freezes is good and, relief for a moment, because, they have rent freezes in the past,
Mm-hmm.
but rent prices still go up,
Yep.
right? There was an article that after the Knicks one, let's go Knicks in 5, you know what I'm saying? After the Knicks one, rent went up. And so it's just crazy that we're not paying attention to some of these things that's going on. And so that's why I'm like, it's about wealth building. It's not just about certain things. Like I love everything that this administration is doing, but we have to really, as Black people and people of color, really focus and have like a red dot on building wealth.
Laser sharp.
A laser sharp view on building wealth. And what I'm doing with MYBE, getting young people to see that government contracts, you can build right, you can get that right in your communities. You don't have to go far.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what I'm changing the school system to be, a financial platform, and being able for a young adult to be able to go to school, go to BMCC, and also have a contract for BMCC, right? Like, there's a lot of small businesses that youth and young adults could start, like vending machine, right? There's a company that had almost 95% of vending machines in the Department of Education schools and facilities. Mm-hmm. They owned that, right? And if a young adult wanted to go put up a vending machine, they couldn't do that because that contract was held by that company.
Existing company, yeah.
And so a lot of these small businesses that youth and young adults could be doing, like I named all of them, right? I know a whole bunch of youth and young adults that got trucking businesses, right? Logistics companies, and graphic T-shirts.
Even general contracting, construction,
exactly.
HVAC, engineering, electricity.
It's so much young people that are doing this thing right now, having these businesses, but they don't have the opportunity. And that's what I'm changing. That's what I'm changing, and I'm opening the door for them to have more of that opportunity, because it's just like, it's crazy to me how everybody gets so distracted by so much other things, but don't focus on the flow of money.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be focused on. And so MYBE is the bill, Project 2028 is the movement, right? And that is the movement that I'm trying to replicate what I'm doing in New York and do it in other cities. So everybody sees the disadvantage that we're facing. Black and brown people only have 1% of federal contracts.
Yeah, no, it's a shame.
1%.
Shame.
That's horrific. This is where our tax dollars are going. That's why I'm like, this should make people upset.
Yeah.
Because they're getting into office and they're taking our tax dollars and spending it wherever they want it to go. And that's why people need to open up their minds and say, yo, nah, this is it right here. This is what I need to be focused on. We can't just be upset about voting rights and not be upset about economic rights.
Facts.
Absolutely.
That was supposed to be really the whole role of Urban League and NAACP, and you know what Urban League was, because that was all economic. Couple of quick questions. With regards to your bill, where is it at now in New York City? Is it in legislation? Is it up for a vote yet? Where is it at?
So it's supposed to, we are supposed to have a hearing.
Okay.
That was the next steps for the city council bill. And the state bill that just got introduced. And I just want to shout out my guy, Carrie Edwards. I don't know if you guys know Carrie Edwards. He's from Brooklyn. He ran against Antonio Reynoso for Brooklyn Borough President.
Okay.
He's one of the people that also has been, really just pushing me and making things happen for me because he understands the legacy. And NCAAP, that nonprofit, I feel like we lose our way after a certain while. Like I feel like there was so much people, well, I should say, not our color on that board.
That started it.
Yeah,
exactly.
That started it. And so we have to be careful. I'm not saying that they do that, but I'm just saying that we have to be careful that other people that on certain projects don't really understand where we come from. They don't understand what we really need. You know what I'm saying? So they steer us in certain directions that is not going to really be beneficial.
Yeah.
But I really want to say to every Black and brown politician out there that you need to start mentoring groups. Everybody needs to grab somebody and say, let's go, let me help you. Let me put 1 hour aside out of every month to talk to this group, talk to that group, talk to our brothers, because we need saving. And we need that alignment. And so that's just so important to me, man. But that's what I'm really focused on right now, Project 2028, MYBE Bill, and making sure that we create wealth and legacy for our people. Legacy.
Also, real quick on that is make sure you do your taxes. When we do our MWE certification process, the most difficult components of those that don't get approved is, I get it, you're trying to save money. A lot of us that have businesses, you don't want to show a lot of income, so you don't have to pay that much taxes. But then it makes it very difficult where on the state side, you need to have 3 years of taxes, personal taxes, or at least 1 year of your business tax if you're a new business. So it's very important to do your taxes. If you don't do your business taxes, at least do a Schedule C on your personal taxes. It's very important to show that there's some type of operational revenue within your business. I just wanted to put it out there because that happens a lot, and it is a roadblock. It's a real roadblock for our young businesses.
And get a nonprofit.
And entrepreneurs. Or get a nonprofit. So couple rapid fire questions as we end this. So when I mentioned, think about influence or politics, and if I mention power, think about politics. Choose one: money, power, respect. I'll say this. So let me just put this down. And Drew, if you have any, think about it as well. You mentioned righteousness, so you're gonna think about righteousness within that aspect.
Oh man.
And energy. Energy would be big with all of those.
Yeah, energy would be big, all of those. I'd say respect is good, but I have to go with power.
Power, okay.
Yeah. Power. I'm gonna have to go with power.
Power. Okay. You care to say why? You don't have to. Yeah. Just saying.
I'd say power because you can make things happen, right? And with power, depending on how you use it, you can gain respect and you can get money. You know what I'm saying? If I was just to go with money, I just have money. I don't got no respect.
You ever watch House of Cards?
Yeah, I watched it. But
it was an incredible show about that exact thing you just said.
Mm.
Who's the king of New York? Jalen Brunson or Mom Donnie?
You gonna go Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. Let's keep it. Nixon 5 for sure. Obama or Jay-Z?
Man. That's a hard one. Shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't never really grown up have no pictures of Obama on my wall. So I'm gonna have to go Jay-Z. I never really dive into deep about what Obama was doing unless it really made a big impact on our people, right? And I know he's done a lot of great things, but our people need more help. And Jay-Z spitting game. And on that 4 for 4, you know, that was around that time I was going through a lot of hard times. And that 4 for 4 was really like keeping me afloat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was talking a lot of that.
He was really spitting game, and he's just on another level. You know, he
I
does
feel
so
like
much things.
he should do more for our people. I feel like Jay-Z should do more, specifically the type of music that he made, where he come from, everything that he stand for. I don't feel like he available enough for our people right now.
You know, I agree, but then I also say that there are some things that he's doing that are not really pushed out there, right? Like he started something in Marcy Projects where he was teaching young people about cryptocurrency, right? And that was like back in 2022, and way before Trump got into office. And now Trump's biggest thing is to deregulate crypto. And
I just think he gotta be front line, man. There's people upstate right now doing years and 100. The last song that they listened to before they went out and did what they did was some Jay-Z or a Rockefeller thing. So I feel like he is. The music is one thing, because I get where you coming from, because I relate to his music a lot as well, where I could listen to an album and it could just put me somewhere mentally. But I feel like him pulling up, just being a little bit more accessible, not saying make yourself available for everybody, but just to make yourself available for the culture, because there's a lot of young entrepreneurs out here that's really trying to figure out that flip still, and I think he could.
I'll give you a perfect example. We talked about it.
What's that?
When he did his interview with GQ.
Oh yeah, interview with GQ.
That should have been with EYL. That should have been with Drink Champs. That was a moment for him to give us how he flipped it from 99, 2000 to where he is now. Because EYL would have asked him that.
And it's the flip financially too, but also the flip maturity-wise.
Yeah.
Also the flip perception-wise. Like, you got to remember, like, they used to label Jay-Z as the one that was always talk about bitches and hoes and all of that. So just the maturity to be able to flip, get into the game as far as politics, get into the game as far as sports management, get into the game as far as NBA ownership, get into the game as far as criminal justice reform. I just think it needs to be a little bit louder. Like, you got to come out and just pull up on us more, because it's a lot of people involved in that. You from Brooklyn, I would be taking that personal myself if I ain't really meet Hov and get a chance to talk about criminal justice reform, especially what's going on out in the neighborhoods that y'all come from.
And we're running out of time. So the crazy part is we're now, what, 1 generation, 2 generations away from Blueprint?
No, like
20 years. I mean, that came out in 01.
Yeah. You said 2 generations, yeah.
It's 25 years.
Yeah.
1.5. We work with students, high school seniors and stuff, Roosevelt High School. About 50 of them, right, Drew? We asked them, yo, anybody excited? Anybody watch that Jay-Z? We're trying to, you know, They're like, okay. I'm like, oh, maybe this is not a conversation. Like, we said, so no one wants to go to the concert? We say, yo, I was confused. I said, who's your favorite rapper? I did not know any of the names. And I, you know, like Drew put me on to Cello. Like there's a couple artists that I really listen to right now.
Yeah. Cello from where?
Queens.
Oh,
They,
yeah.
They didn't know.
Shout out to 40 Projects.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's.
But he already kind of lost the ability to talk to them. They're not interested. We're actually asking for that. So when you talk about like chilling a little too, he might have missed that impact to talk to EYL because they may not be listening anymore.
And I think why I think it was so ill, because he was like the first one, like from the culture that was like really trying to evolve. You feel me? I'm pretty sure it was people there before him that evolved business-wise, went from probably a rapper to a CEO, but I'm just talking about lifestyle-wise of, you know, just being a street person, being a gangster, like being involved with different women and different things like that. Just everything that the lifestyle has to offer. I think that he really showed, yo, I want to raise a family. I want a wife. You know, just legitimate businesses outside of rapping. I don't want to be looked at as a rapper. I don't want my pants hanging off. I don't want a do-rag and a hat on. So just that to be able to evolve like that, knowing what's in the hood, knowing how stagnated the hoods is, off of the music, off of the lifestyle, emulating everything that we seen on TV. Like, you owe us, bro. You owe us, man. You owe us.
And it's like, you mentioned starting a family. It's not even just starting a family. It's who he chose for a mate. Is like, again, it's situational awareness.
Yeah.
He coming in with B at Rucker.
Facts.
At a time where it was like, no one could figure that out.
And even certain moves that people disagree with. I feel like those uncomfortable calls had to be made because you thinking outside of the box of a project nigga. So to tell Beanie Siegel, no, I'm not doing this, us as hood niggas is gonna look at that as disrespectful, but the hood nigga gotta evolve, the hood nigga gotta grow, everybody can't go, you get what I'm saying? I think that's another conversation that need to be had because it's people that stagnated with just the people that's around them. Like, yo, what made you really get up away from them like that? Like, what gave you to like, yo, you know what? Man, y'all niggas is playing, bro. Like, we need to know that as well. That's valuable information. You feel me? So it's just a lot that we can learn from that I've been watching and I've been paying attention to them that I feel like, yo, you could really give some information to the grassroots, and I think it could be really beneficial for the black man.
There's no one.
I agree.
There's no one that's risen and scaled to get to the places that he's been able to get to, power, financially, you could even probably say sometime soon politically, that has come from where he's come from. Literally, there's no one.
The interest, like the interest, like the interest that he has is like, yo, what happened to you? Not in a bad way, but like, yo, you seen something that made you really want more. You feel me? And I feel like you should come down and holler at us because we want to see.
Like how we asked you, right?
Yeah.
We're just very curious. Right? Something's there. Like, and then it's like little things you find out from your mom worked with DA. There was a process and there's an investment, if it's even biblically, right? Like Proverbs. We're talking about wisdom right now. Nothing new is under the sun.
Facts.
Sometimes we just need a little bit of a memory kick. So Jay, get on certain platforms because we're losing a generation that in 10 years, I don't know if they're going to want to hear from him because they don't want to hear from him right now. Yeah. We do.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with what both of you guys are saying. He owes it to the culture. He needs to go on certain platforms and really give game. But the thing about it is when you reach a certain height, it's so hard to get up there and it's so cutthroat that nobody really wants to spill how they did it and give other people the blueprint.
Absolutely.
They don't want to do that, but we need to create these. He needs to, and other black individuals who made it to a certain level need to really start investing into, really building circles where we circulate that knowledge. Right?
Why I say him? Because it's people that just scale, right? It's people that scaled. It's people that became very wealthy. It's people that was very successful. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you from like a specific genre. You was a drug dealer. You was involved in gang violence. You was involved in different things like that. Yeah. And that's just a whole nother like level to get away from. Like that lifestyle is just hard to get away from, whether it's the girls, whether it's just the popularity. Like they said, the hardest thing for a hustler to do versus hustling is leaving.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, for you to have that knowledge, right? For you to have that knowledge, and this part of the game is still affecting our community at a rapid pace.
I would say worse.
Yeah, like the crack era was in the 80s. You rose from that, and we still got, you know, things out here that's really shackling our people massively. You feel me? Hip hop music is like really shackling our young black adults massively with the drill thing. So I just think like if he was to be able to like really, you know, be the face of that, really, you know, make it to where like, yo, you playing yourself, black man, for looking like this. Like 45-year-old man wearing your pants below your 45-year-old man still gangbanging, 45-year-old man still selling crack. Like these things got to be frowned upon. And I think like with people like that coming back from the culture, speaking about evolving, speaking about having a family, speaking about raising children, I just think that, you know, that'll become secondary. It'll become corny, like how smoking crack was corny back in the day. Like, back in the day, they say like the first crackheads was cool peoples. Like they was because they didn't know what it was. It was like young people smoking weed, but our generation knew like, yo, nah, if you mess with crack, bro, you out of here. So I think it kind of got to be like that, like with certain aspects of our culture, because it's that detrimental.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree, but I would say, you know, after a certain amount of time, we got to stop depending on these guys, you know, and start building within our own networks and really figuring it out from there, right? Because no matter what, success leaves clues, right? And if you see how he maneuvered, because I go back in the days and I watch some of the videos where he was first coming up, and I'm seeing that, okay, he linked with Warren Buffett. You know what I'm saying?
Think about Jay-Z with the bulletproof vest on and a Rolex.
Yeah.
To Warren Buffett. Like, you got to think about the middle ground in between that. Like, yo, bro, what happened to you? Like, what did you see? Who did you speak to? What was you around to get your mind out of this right now? Especially as a young man, when you got the money, you got the business already, you got everybody around you. What was the hunger for more in that situation to say, yo, I'm not comfortable, man. I really need...
And I'll just throw this out there to push back just a little bit. We saw Trump become president, who's already, his father gave him $300 million to develop in Queens. So that was a generational investment where there's already, we're celebrating 250 years of America. We already know how America was built off of the back of slaves. There's a lot of things that was already. Trump is president in 2024 and immediately put his people on. We just talked about contracts. Like, Pete Hesses, you in there, has no experience. Like, my personal lawyer, you're the U.S. Attorney General. So it's like, for some reason, our individuals that made it to those higher places is like, nah, I can't give y'all game. Trump, I'm giving y'all, my people, y'all. So it's like other races,
the game
and I'm giving you everything. But like Obama, the only thing knock I would say on him that I was a little upset with is like, didn't do that. It's like a thing where it's like, I got in, I can't let too many people come in. You know, it's like, and even with the response, not to get too much into lyrics, but with...
And I agree with you real quick. I don't want you to lose your train of thought. I feel like, I'm not sure what Obama was thinking, but I feel like, you know, people go into that space being a little scared, like not wanting to put everybody on.
Definitely petrified.
Because
first black president.
I'm gonna assassinate.
Because the first time I got too many of y'all here, they gonna think I'm up to something.
Exactly. Exactly. But we need people that's willing to go those lengths. To say, I'm gonna die for this.
We haven't had that in a long time.
We haven't had that in a long time. That's what we missing. That's why Trump can go through a whole bunch of charges,
But this is
and then come out.
Jay-Z
He come out
needs to be
untouchable.
held accountable.
I don't know if
but-
he's willing to do that.
Hold on, hold on.
Not willing to do that. It was people before you that did that already for you. That basically laid out the yellow brick road for you.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King died for our people. And people really don't give him the respect and credit that he deserves. Malcolm X died for our people. The list goes on, bro. The list goes on. There's countless peoples that really done put on for black people to have equality, to have equity out here. And I feel like nowadays the entertainers and the athletes don't really hold that torch the way that they used to. Muhammad Ali really stood for something, bro. Like, what was the dudes, the track, Jesse Owens and all of them dudes that was out
Kareem
there.
Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These was dudes that really like, yo, I'm not playing out. This is wrong. It's people are being wrongfully killed out here. I think nowadays with our entertainers and our athletes and stuff like that, they don't really care about none of that. And I think if we had an entertainer, and it's plenty of people of
But we don't need an entertainer to do that though. We just need one of us to do that and stand up.
Influence,
you know what I'm saying? Because
influence is so big.
is.
Influence is so big. Me and you going out there, we gonna get the attention of you can say majority of the hood, but it's still gonna be people over there in the corner, man. Bro, I ain't listening. When you got somebody like Hove coming, we basically could repeat the New York parade. If we got Jalen Brunson speaking about the Democratic Party right now and he's not feeling, you know how many people's gonna back that and be
they're
actually
going to the White House.
be actually interested.
How you feel about that?
I feel like do what you got to do.
Do what you
man,
got to do.
because
Yeah, I ain't mad at it.
ain't nobody gets a chance. Not a lot of people get a chance to go.
You know what I would say though?
But you got to make an example. You got to show. You got to do something different.
You know what I would say though?
Go ahead.
I would love if Jalen Brunson goes to the White House, pays respect, Trump respect, like my daddy did. The first thing he says is, Michelle Obama's a beautiful black queen.
Something radical's gonna happen.
Yeah, that'll be
that team is too much full of dogs.
They keep disrespecting her. Man,
I get that, but I'm telling you, this New York Knicks team is too many dogs on there.
They're not politically engaged.
No. I love that you say that, and I hope they be willing to do that and go that extra mile because that would be lit.
That would be it.
But a lot of people are not willing to stand up for certain shit. Like the guy James Dolan, he was at the Knicks.
See what he did?
He's like, yo, I don't need y'all vote. I don't need to quote nothing. And a lot of people, honest with you, they be quoting a lot of things to tap into our culture. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I feel like they're gonna be in line because James Dolan, he fuck with Trump, and Trump, he basically laid out the red carpet for Trump to come to.
That was a perfect example. That bravado, that boldness.
Yeah.
Like at that moment in time, he's still getting I'm getting a jab off.
Yeah.
I'm getting a jab. The UFC fighter on the White House lawn. Where he said, this, like, what? There's a bravado and a boldness.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know what specifically that might be with Jay. I do feel like, and no, actually I do know. I said it. He should have sat down with EYL. He should have sat down with Drink Champs more so for the culture, EYL more so for the finance.
Yeah.
That two right there, I feel like he missed a moment.
And the culture as well, because that's two young brothers from the state that
No, absolutely, yeah.
that made financial literacy lit like rap.
But you know how he is, though. I'm not saying like we met him. I don't know him. But I feel like he would have gave Nori more hip-hop stories, and he would have gave EYL more of this is what I did. This is how, what they would have asked him probably, what were you thinking to get next to Warren Buffett? Nori ain't going to ask him that.
True.
You know what I'm saying? That is two different questions.
Shout out to EYL, man. They really put everybody on game. They put me on game.
It changed the game.
Where, I was looking at what they was doing. They went to the stock market and they were like, yo, we out here. We at the stock market around millionaires and billionaires. You know what I'm saying? And that put planted a seed in me. Like I was like, one day, I think I posted it under Ian's one of these guys comments, and I was comment section. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be at the stock market one day, way before I got tapped in the government. Now I went to the stock market with the mayor and brought a whole bunch of youth and young adults with me. And then not only did we go to the stock market, but we met up with the president of the stock market.
Amazing.
So we were like having a whole a tour of the facility and sitting down with people that run the New York Stock Exchange, which has never been done before.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying? And I believe in those brothers so much, and hopefully they, share the resources that they got, because not only did I do that, I also hit them up because some of the people I know was in tune with them. And I'm like, yo, listen, we need to bring InvestFest to New York City. You know what I'm saying? We need to bring it to the towns.
Mm.
And I invited them out. This was their first time in City Hall. I invited them out to City Hall and got them to sit down with a whole bunch of deputy mayors and commissioners to figure out how we could bring InvestFest to New York City, right? And as we all know, like it's a different landscape from Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
To
Have you been to
New York.
InvestFest?
No, I haven't been.
It's
I haven't been.
insane.
To
You should
InvestFest.
go. It's insane.
I think I should go, but I just got my hands tied.
No, yeah.
Just
When
so much
the
thing.
time is right.
Facts. And so just to finish off my what I'm about to say is that you have people like Trump that gets all these felony charges, and he ends up becoming president again.
That's crazy.
But then you got people like, and I respect, like Eric Adams, going through all these corruption charges, but our community is not really like backing him like that. They like, oh yeah, he's corrupt. He's this, that, and the third. How many charges did Trump done went through? How many charges did he became a felon? And he's still president of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's just like, we really had to take a look at ourselves as a community and say, we need to respect and fight for the people that are going to fight on our behalves, right? And that's why it's so important that what I'm doing, MYBE, is because I'm not creating something where only me and my people eat. This is for everybody to eat. This is for all youth and young adults to eat. That's why it's so dope, right? And it's not only for youth and young adults to eat, but it's also to reinforce the MWBE pipeline, because you need people who are MWBE certified to keep this program alive. MWBE is under attack right now under the Trump administration. They taking out the minority wording. They don't want nothing that's supposed to uplift people of color or women. They don't want none of that language. And so this is why it's so crucial and so important, the mission that I'm on. And we need more people that's willing to die for, our people. We need more people that's willing to take it the furthest for our people. And that's what I'm willing to do.
I love it. And we need more people like you that are willing to be righteous. We definitely need some sacrifices. We've had them though.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to say that, but we for sure need more righteousness. There's a lot of cancer in our culture, in our community. Last question before we jump off. JD, again, appreciate you joining us. I love the conversation, love the feedback. High respect for what you're doing and what you've been able to create. Looking forward to seeing what pathways and the impact you're gonna have, not only on New York, but like you said, the entire country and probably beyond. Pick one, time or identity.
Time or identity. It's gotta be what you stand for, so I'm gonna go with identity.
Good
one.
Yeah.
Good one. A lot of people go their whole life never know who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nah.
And that's what they've all been trying to take out of our history. Is who we are. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to delete our history, and that's what it's always been about. Confuse them so much that they don't know who they are, where they come from. They don't know that they come from kings and queens. I'm Haitian, so they want our people, not to really understand that we was pivotal in building the United States of America, right? Because the Haitian Revolution is what caused and triggered the Louisiana Purchase. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of listen, Haitians got not only fought for their own independence, but have a lot of pride. There's actually federal legislation yesterday or today, right? It was yesterday? Trump, the Supreme Court approved Trump's legislation saying that they can strip away some Haitians' rights as far as the citizenship. It's crazy. That just came out yesterday.
Yeah, but he don't know who he messing with.
Nah, I ain't go front. Haitians, like, when you talk politically, like, there's no joke, man.
Haitians is nothing to play with, man. We had the Haitian Revolution, the first Caribbean, country to become free.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just like now it's about really coming together and fighting for all of us, all people of color, because we're all our people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's do it.
JD, much respect, man. Thank you again for joining Policy and Culture. Wisdom, the insight, the energy, the vibes, the frequency, and the awareness. A lot of jewels dropped today, man. Appreciate you.
Great convo, man.